When it comes to streaming, gaming, esports, and business, one woman stands above the rest. Welcome to Streamer Class, your #1 source for everything streaming. Listen to compelling guest interviews about starting and growing a successful channel and turning your passion for content into a career. Now, here's your host, a two-time partnered Twitch streamer, owner and director of SheefGG, and overall non-half-asser, Sigma.
Hey guys, welcome. We are here with SheefGG. Sheef has been streaming since, 2017 from what I could gather on all of your stuff that I looked up. And he has almost 30,000 followers on his platforms. I've known Sheef for a really long time. If you guys know about something called Evasion, he's also on the Evasion team. I don't know, Sheef, you and I have been knowing each other for a long time, so I'm really excited to have you here today. So thank you for joining me. If you want to kind of introduce yourself to everybody, feel free.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is awesome. So my name's Shane Sheefabine. I go by SheefGG online. Play a whole lot of Tarkov, 7 days a week, around 10 hours a day. And so if you see me online, that's likely what I'm going to be doing. Before Tarkov, I competed professionally in PUBG, and so I turn the stream on every once in a while for events or just shits and giggles to hang out with friends. But realistically, I never really took it seriously until the start of January in 2020. And so I'd say that's really when I started streaming. And then before that, it was more of I would just turn it on and mess around. But I never, I didn't have like alerts or graphics and stuff. I never took it serious. It was more as just a fun thing to do every once in a while. But then when January of 2020 started, I was like, let's full send it. And that's when I actually started to like look into how to be a streamer and how to do it right.
Yeah, and that's a whole can of worms in itself. That's,
100%.
You and I were just talking before I hit record, and I know you get questions a lot from smaller streamers that just want this kind of advice, and you've always put yourself out there to answer questions for them, and it's a big passion of mine as well. I know navigating it is just, it's not easy. It really looks easy from the outside, right? You just throw on your camera and play a game, but there's actually a lot that goes into it, especially if you want to put out a quality stream. So hats off to you for being able to do that. You didn't just jump into it and say, okay, we're going to do this. You like full blown locomotive ran at it, and it has worked out because recently you just went full time and quit your other job with it, right? Yeah, it worked out
really well. And that was a big move because I did love my other job. And so to step away from that was scary and exciting all at the same time. But it 100%, it's the right path for me, and I'm beyond excited to be on it. But yeah, it's a lot of work behind the scenes, and whenever I was doing research for it, it was surprisingly difficult to find stuff that wasn't run-of-the-mill generic advice, if you will. And so, it took a lot of learning, a lot of learning through trial and error, if you will.
Yeah. Just setting up one thing like alerts. I remember I went to my husband's hotel and I said, I went to go set up alerts on my stream, and I kid you not, I'm like 4 hours into it, and I've hired a graphic design person to try to help me. Like, it's, just one thing that you think is going to be okay, because you don't, like you said, that generic thing, you don't want just, the zombie running across the screen for your follows. You actually want to make them feel like they took the time to follow you. You got a cool alert made for them. Like, it's a whole back and forth, but just one thing like alerts can eat up hours, which actually leads me to one of the questions that I've gotten before is, how many hours do you spend behind the scenes when you're not streaming, just working on the stream itself? And the second part is, how many hours a week or how many hours behind the scenes, maybe even a day, if you want to break it down that way, do you put into social media?
So probably embarrassing to say, like every second, literally every second. I have very big aspirations with my stream, and I want to raise as much money for charity as possible. And so with that being said, I need to grow the channel as large as possible. And So I don't mind. It's a passion for me. I love this, and there's not much else that I have during my day. And so, I'm trying to exercise more, trying to eat healthier, trying to meal prep, and get a better diet going and everything. But for the most part, like outside of that, my life does fully evolve around the stream for now. And that's a sacrifice that I knew would come with the territory. Being a full-time streamer, there is a lot of behind the scenes, like you said, social media and working on the stream. I mean, shit, right after the stream this morning when I ended at 8 Eastern, I met with the editor right after. We talked for an hour to get stuff rolling. And then after that, went to sleep, woke up to do this, and go back to sleep for a little bit, and then wake up and stream and rinse and repeat every day. But it's a little bit different each day, meetings with sponsors or partners or the mods. And then on top of that, you have all of the other social medias that you need to be active on. And then you need to integrate yourself into the community via Twitch or, whatever platform you're on, especially the Tarkov community, because, as a streamer, it's important to be friends with the people that you're going to be working alongside. That's the way I view a lot of the streamers that I haven't had the pleasure of gaming with. Their coworkers, essentially, right? And so, it's important to build a friendship with your coworkers and to integrate yourself in the community. And so hanging out in Twitch streams and talking and asking questions or really, just building that friendship, goes a really long way. And so the amount of hours that goes into the stream outside of actually streaming is absurd. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And it can get away from you really fast. Mm-hmm. Like I talked about, just the alerts alone is one thing, but you bring networking into it, you bring your social media into it, you bring your editors into it. I mean, you've got your hands full, let alone trying to get sponsorships or work out those deals, because while we're very lucky to get a lot of deals thrown at us, maybe 10% of them are worth our time of looking at even deeper. You probably get all these offers left and right that say, hey, do this, do that, this would be wonderful. And then one comes along, you're like, yeah, let's really dive into it. And then you go to look at it and you're like, oh, never mind. So yeah.
And the thing is the majority of streamers, they don't have a marketing background, or they don't know what these numbers mean. And like, right. I don't even really know my own worth, right? It's like you look at these numbers and your views and you're like, well, how does that translate over to a dollar sign for these sponsors? And like, what is my worth, right? In a dollar sign perspective for these sponsors. And so whenever you're trying to weigh that and reach out to sponsors, it can be really difficult. And when you get hit up by all these ones when you're first starting, it can be really exciting. But then after looking into it, it's like, you're kind of just giving free advertisement in a lot of points. And so you have to be very careful with who you partner with, or the affiliate programs. Like if you're not really getting anything out of it besides like one free keyboard, and then you're advertising for them nonstop, it's like you just set your worth at like $80 as a person. And it's just like that, the affiliate program sounds really nice, but how many keyboards are people actually buying? You know what I mean? So you have to like look at like what an affiliate program is actually going to do for you, and then is it going to be worth your while? Because a lot of affiliate programs are set up to straight up be free advertisement for the company, or extremely cheap advertisement for the company. And that's not right. And so knowing your own worth is something to try to navigate through. And it can be extremely difficult, and it varies so much depending on what you're working with, and your live views compared to your overall like unique viewers. And so there's a lot that goes into it, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually really glad you brought that up. We kind of discussed this in some of the past interviews I did, but I don't think that we dove into it a ton. We talked a little bit about how to get your first sponsorship, or maybe what to look for. I know that there are, and I'm not going to name names, but there are some food companies and some PC building companies that you and I both know that recently have blown up across not just Tarkov, but Twitch. Excuse me. And I know it's great and wonderful that very large streamers are doing sponsorship deals with these companies. And as a small streamer, you look and you go, wait, I can get in with a company that one of my favorite big streamers has, well, this is amazing. Like, it's going to validate me in a way. And, I might be able to earn a few extra bucks from it. But your extra bucks might be $10 that month. They might be $20 that month. And while every little piece adds up, and I'm not against that, you basically just sold out your entire stream for $10 to $20 when, you and I are personally over here doing deals by like the hour. And that's what we want you to work towards. But you just sold out your entire stream and bombarded your chat. You're pushing a product on your chat so that you can feel maybe a little bit validated over here. And it's just not worth it, because I've actually talked to other companies where they go into these channels and they see that you have this affiliate deal, that tiny little sponsorship over here, and you've got this and that and the other thing, and you look crowded. You look like you'll accept anything. And some of these companies will actually pass on them because they have too many deals up on their stream as it is. Yep. So, like she said, you got to make sure that you know your worth. And if your worth right now is $100 for a week or whatever it is for your advertisement, just figure out what it is and make sure that you stick to your guns. Because not only are you selling yourself out, you're also selling the other person in the same category and the other person and the other person. Like, now we're setting a whole team worth here. And so, knowing your numbers, very, very important. And I don't think we pay attention to that until later. But we all know that these serious affiliates, this is what they're after. So start looking at it now. Dress the part, right?
So Sneak actually was my first sponsor or partner. And I met them, or the player rep, through one of my other friends who was a full-time streamer and partnered with Sneak. And so I was lucky to get in with Sneak, and they'll be a company that I've just recently re-signed with them. They're ones that are, when you look at it, it's something that someone can buy each month. It's a good product, one that I personally back, and I think that's very important. Like, as you said, you can't just sign with anyone and pick up anything. It's like, when you back a product, you're pushing that onto your viewers, and so it needs to be something that you thoroughly like yourself and will use yourself, and something you would buy yourself. And that's the way I look at it, is if I would buy it and use it myself, because I'm pretty frugal with my money and wise. I don't like just going and buying stuff whenever there's a better option for a cheaper price. It's like, I'll go with that better option for a cheaper price almost always. And so I shop around, and whenever I purchase something, I consider it a smart purchase. And so if I put my name on a product or backing a product, I want it to be a good product. And so it's important to partner with, quality companies. If you're going to maybe take a little bit less of a paycheck, make sure that you're able to get something out of it that is equal benefit. So like with Sneak, I get access to Sneak. I get to drink Sneak, and I don't have to worry about paying for it. And it's something that if I wasn't partnering with Sneak, I would be buying it. I drink it every day, and it's how I'm able to get energy for my streams. But I'm able to get, energy basically by partnering with Sneak, and then a small paycheck each month, just from, my viewers purchasing it. And so Sneak worked out really well for me as my first company to partner with. But there's been several since then that I've either partnered with or, reached out to. And when they got back to me, it was like they just did not value my worth at all. And so you really just have to value your own worth when it comes to sponsors.
Yeah, 100%. And be comfortable walking away. It's okay to walk away from a deal.
Yep. There'll be so many more. There will be so many more.
Yeah. And don't, I see it happen too often that people get, 100, 200 followers. And then they're like, okay, so how do I do this sponsorship thing? And I'm like, really, a lot of it is just put your nose to the grindstone, focus on your content that you're putting out and the other things that you're building. And I promise that will eventually come. It doesn't happen right away, and it shouldn't, because if it does, we might be falling back to what we talked about earlier. So
I have a charity stream coming up, and I was looking for potential sponsors for that. And I can't remember what exactly I Googled, but it led me down a rabbit hole of going to Reddit. And someone on Reddit was like, these are my stats. Do you think I could become a streamer for TSM or something like that? Or some maybe Corsair, some major sponsorship, like a major one, right?
Okay.
And the numbers he put up were like so beginner. I mean, like 75 followers, and it was like right at affiliate status. And he was wanting to start reaching out to like these major sponsors, and I was just thinking like it's super ambitious. Don't get me wrong, but that should be the last thing you're worried about at that level. It's like you can hold off on that and don't rush into that area. Like, work on your stream and work on the quality of your content, and then the sponsors will come. But first and foremost, focus on the product that you're putting out on your stream and your channels, and then the sponsors will come. Don't go out looking for sponsors too early. You'll shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. That's good stuff. Well, I have a question here from Julie. I had asked on Twitter, what 3 questions would you ask a partner? So the number one thing that she wants to know is why do streamers feel guilty for taking days off and feel anxiety when they aren't live? How did or do you get over that feeling?
Shit, I've streamed 590 days in a row, so
I know that. So you are going to be the perfect example as to why would we feel anxiety over that? I mean, I know why I would, but at some point you hit a spot where you're like, wow, I've streamed a lot of days in a row. I think I'm just going to keep this thing going. And it's been a huge trademark for you. But how do you feel about that? Like, why do you hear, or what do you hear from our fellow streamers as to why they get nervous taking time off?
So I actually was chatting with another streamer about this the other day. But basically, in my opinion, it comes down to being too worried about your numbers. And whenever I had my numbers turned on and I was more focused on that, then I was worried about, missing out on that potential growth, or the growth that I did have the day before. I didn't want to lose by taking a day off, because every day you take off, those potential followers or viewers are going to be clicking on other streams that you're not on, when there's a chance that they'd click on yours, right? And so there's the anxiety behind losing out on the potential viewership or followers, or basically the potential viewership when you take that day off. I think I got over that pretty early because, and granted, I've been going for 590 days in a row. But it's not because I have ever had any sort of anxiety of losing viewers, or because I was worried about missing out on potential growth. It's solely because of, like I said earlier, I have very large aspirations with the channel. And so I don't really mind committing that extra time or that extra day, because I'd probably be playing video games in my day off anyways. So it's all the same to me, right? And I love hanging out with the Tarkov community. So it's a win-win. But whenever I was focused on the numbers, and like even like during a live stream, I can't tell how many people are watching me at any moment. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I have no access to see them. And I mean, I can like move my mouse over OBS and unhide it. But like at a quick glance, there's no numbers popped up. And I think a lot of people make that mistake of like having their numbers up, and they're more focused on that. And so, the way I looked at it was, if you got one viewer, you have a friend hanging out with you, and that's super cool. I would kill for that. If I could just have a friend hanging out with me at any time while I'm playing video games, like that's two of the best things in my opinion. Hanging out with friends and playing video games, win-win. So if you got one viewer and that's a friend hanging out with you. You got 5 viewers, that's a dinner party. 10 viewers, small house party. 20 viewers, house party. 50 viewers, that's pretty much a rager, at least where I'm from.
Right.
100 viewers, shit. I've been to concerts smaller than that. 150, 200 viewers, that's a fucking theater. Like, that's so many people to sit and watch what you're doing. And so, even at one person, I was super excited. I remember calling my mom and being like, yo, I had 5 people hanging out in chat last night talking. And or the first time someone used my Discord to play with someone else, and like that, when I like first saw like that, the friendships being made from the community that I started, it was so cool. And so it's really addicting to keep streaming. That's why I go 590 days in a row. It's more of the addiction of the growth and knowing the outcome is going to be, raising more money for charity. That's the whole growth and 590 days. I don't really plan on taking a day off until I raise $1 million for charity. And so that's my plan. But as far as like the anxiety with taking a day off and feeling guilty, at the guilty part, I mean, at a point, people do tune into you as an escape, and they might be going through some real life shit, to different varying degrees. Everybody's on their own path, and, we've all gone through a lot of shit. And so a lot of people use Twitch as an escape, myself included at a lot of times. And so, if you're someone's favorite streamer and you take a day off, or you take, a vacation or whatever, what have you, it's like that person lost their escape or one of their escapes. And so that is a potential guilt factor.
Sure.
Not one that I've ever really gone into. Again, I mean, I have streamed every day in a row and a lot during those days, but I feel as if that's just an unfair guilt to put on the streamer and on yourself. It's not realistic.
Sure.
There's no way you can help out everybody, and there's no way you could be there for everybody on the internet at every time.
Yeah.
You're human.
And we're not counselors.
You got
right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we are not counselors and we're not psychiatrists, and I have to tell that to people all the time. Shit, even when people ask me for advice with computers, I have to remind them, like, yo, I play video games. I don't really know much about computers. I wish I could help more, but like, I'd feel bad giving you advice and then it'd be wrong, or there'd be much better advice that you could have just Googled, or, ask someone that did know what they're talking about. So like, I'll try to give advice that I have had personal experience with, like computer parts, or, life advice overall. But I always have to remind them, like, yo, dude, I'm not a psychiatrist, so take what I say with a grain of salt.
Right.
It's like, but I could talk to you about streaming all day long or Tarkov all day long. But as far as, other things, it's just an unfair burden to put on yourself and on the streamer. It's unrealistic to accomplish. And then the anxiety, I think, is you should be happy with the people that are there rather than worried about the 5 people that aren't, and because that goes back to when I first turned off my numbers, I had roughly like 40 viewers at the time average, and I'd notice a dip and it'd go down to like 40 or 35 or 30, and I'd be like, oh, what happened? What was I doing? What did I do wrong? Like, did I say something wrong? Am I bored? Was I being boring? Did I not say anything? Like, what's going on? I'd be more concerned about those 5 viewers that left than entertaining the 35 viewers that I had hanging out still.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, when I turned off the numbers, my full focus went to the stream and went towards the content that I was putting out, and that was a trillion times better. And I saw such a larger growth with it.
I agree.
I died because I wasn't paying attention to those 5 viewers that I lost, and so the 35 viewers that I had stuck around a lot more, and they were more chatting, and then the people that did tune in stuck around more. And so it's because, like, there's just really no point in focusing on those numbers in the moment. It's not going to benefit you at all. Analyze them afterwards. Like once a week, I'll sit down and look at my total graphs and whatnot and see how I'm doing. But for the most part, I don't really look too much at the numbers, especially not in the moment.
That's big. I actually turned my numbers off too. And recently, I would say probably within the last month, there would be times where I went without them. But that I just recently moved, and, Tarkov was at a lull, like just little things were happening. And I realized that was one of the things that was frustrating. And it was even after, even if they were going up, I realized I was putting just too much time in general on worrying about that number, whether it was up or down. And so turning that off is great advice, and actually something that a lot of streamers are preaching. And I wish that people that were starting out, or even partners that we have now, would do that, because like you said, we're already distracted with a ton of things. We're trying to watch chat, we're trying to check Discord, we're trying to keep an eye on our email in case something comes through, and we don't want to take away from chat, and we don't want to take away from the game. And that's one of the things that can easily take away from it, even subconsciously. If you glance over, I'm constantly looking at bit rates and stuff to make sure that those are good, that I'm not dropping any frames. To add something else to it is honestly pointless. Look at it later,
Yep.
like you said. That's really good advice. I like that.
And then another tip on top of that, which I think is phenomenal. If the second you have a thought of how many viewers do I have, or you catch yourself wanting to look at that number, subconsciously you're going to have that thought a lot. And the second I have that thought, hey chat, how's your day going? You know, guys getting any good games in? You know, you getting wrecked, you tearing it up, or talk to chat, ask chat a question. The second I have a thought of how many viewers do I have, or like, I wonder what my numbers are right now. Boom, engage chat. Kill the thought of looking at the numbers, and you engage chat, and it
Awesome.
works out great, and it immediately takes your mind off it and puts it right back on the main subject. And so, it works out well, and I can't tell you how much more I engage with chat after having that, because it really is a subconscious thought that just keeps popping up over and over again. To check those numbers. Where you at? How many viewers you got? Especially when you start to see some growth. It's really exciting. It's really, really, really exciting. So you want to keep checking those numbers. And then it gets to the point where you're checking them way too much, and you're looking into them way too much. And so, like, that's the point where just turn them off. So
Yeah, just turn them off. And even a host will do it to you. Like we've had large hosts, both you and I, and people get worried, or I've hosted somebody and I've actually seen, you know, I'll host somebody that has like 10 viewers, and I'll see them super excited about it, but not 20 or 30 minutes later, they're like, hey, where did everybody go? I've had somebody say that, and it's like, don't do that to yourself, dude. Just keep playing. Just keep playing. Just focus on the game and chat. Don't focus on anything else. Just go.
So that's one thing I do want to talk about real quick on that is recently I've been trying to raid smaller streamers, and I'll go, and my criteria usually is I'll pick someone 10 viewers or less, usually around that area, and I'll look for someone that has streamed, you know, multiple days a week, 3 to 5. Nothing serious. They don't have to do like 7 days a week or anything serious. Like 3 to 5, you know, committed, and then decent hours streamed, and, you know, graphics and a webcam. Those things are eye-catching. It makes me click on your stream, and will get me to, you know, tune into you. And those things alone have gotten me to raid people. And then when I do raid people, this is advice that I got from Pestily, and some of the best advice that I think has helped with my growth is when you get a raid, a large raid, put on a show. Don't sit there and thank every single follower. Don't read off every single follower, because there's going to be a lot. You put on a show. You get in raid immediately. He said back in December, Pestily rated Landmark. Landmark had 50-ish average viewers. This is of 2019. 50-ish average viewers. Pestily rated Landmark. Landmark immediately got in raid. Immediately. Didn't sit there thinking followers. Didn't sit there thinking subscribers. Immediately got in raid. Started tearing it up. Did an impromptu 24-hour stream. And he took advantage of that large exposure opportunity. And I think a lot of people, when they get the raids, they sit and stash for like 30 minutes talking and thanking everybody. And all the people they came in and wanted to watch a raid bounced. And that's where that, you know, the 250 to 100, you know, like literally on a lot of large raids, I would notice like, wow, people dipped quick. But if you get in a raid quickly and give them entertainment to watch immediately, it's really big. And then on top of that, you know, like you said earlier with alerts and how many hours you can go into trying to fix that, that's always been my biggest thing that I will message that streamer later that night or before I go to bed. I'll be like, yo, dude, here's a couple things that I think you could improve on with your channel. And it's always like just friendly advice and stuff, but it's always alerts. Always alerts. Their alert placements directly smack dab in the middle of the screen. It's too large. It takes up way too much of the screen, and the gameplay, you can't see it. It's loud, and there's so many followers where it's follower after follower after follower, and the alerts popping up right here over and over and over and over again. And it's very distracting, and it takes away from the content. It's like you need your alerts maybe a 10th the size of your screen, maybe. And they need to be off to the side of the screen, left or right, and in the middle of the screen, like on the middle portion, but off to the right or left. And
or you can put them at the top if you need to. Like,
just basically
get them
out
off
of the way.
The middle.
They can't
I agree with you 100%.
Directly in the middle of the screen. They need to be like off into the on the edge, anywhere on the edge.
Yes.
And they need to be a little bit smaller. They don't need to be fucking massive.
And quieter.
Yeah, exactly. They cannot be louder than you.
So listen, your follower alerts should not have sound.
No, yeah.
You know, maybe if you're just starting out, that's really fun. But I promise
the second you get a large raid,
very quickly. Yes, and if you are like, no, I have to have sound on my follower alert, you need to know how to turn it off really quick. That is terrible. And like you said, do not sit in your stash. I've had that same convo with Pest. And I'll even elaborate on another thing that Pest has recommended before. But get out of your stash. And if you're in a raid, be excited. That's the other thing, is be excited. He's talked about this before. Is it's really cool. Like, they're part of this raid. They're coming over. All these people are excited to see you. Don't just be like, oh, what's up, guys? Oh, damn, thanks. You know, thanks, Sheef. Cool. And then go on about, like, holy crap, Sheef. Like, thank you so much for thinking of me. That's really cool of you guys. Welcome, everybody. Oh, my gosh, yeah, we're just doing this right now. Welcome. Have your elevator speech ready, right? How many times do we raid people and they're just like,
speech is so
cool,
big.
Thanks, guys. You know, like, just whatever it is, a 2 or 3 sentence thing about who you are, maybe how long you've been playing Tarkov or whatever game you're on, because this isn't only for Tarkov streamers, but this is a great example. How long you've been playing. You know, this wipe has been this and this for me. Really hard, really good, whatever. Just something lighthearted, fun about yourself, maybe. Maybe
thank everybody for being there. Say it means a lot to you. Yeah, and giving your elevator your elevator pitch. It's massive. Letting everybody know a quick intro to yourself, just so they know more about you. It's their first time tuning in. Give them a hook, and then give them entertainment, and let them know that you're thankful for them being there. But don't sit there and thank every single individual name.
No.
Yeah, put
just
on
a few
show.
here and there. You can thank them if you see them. We have downtime in Tarkov. It's a great game to stream because you got a lot of action, but you also have some good downtime where you can look over and say, oh, man, hey, Sheef, thanks for the follow. Or, you know, if you get subs, that's a great time to thank them and appreciate them being there. But like you said, please, small streamers, hear this out. Get that alert off the middle of your screen, please, and turn down your follower alert. It does not need to have sound. It really doesn't.
Yeah. And to go back to the being excited when you get raided, it does go a long way. So the first guy I raided that sold me on like raiding a bunch of smaller streamers was Nano, and he's a part of the Tarkov community. He does a really good job on putting on a good show, and his pure genuine excitement and happiness was so infectious that it made my night. I was so much more excited about that than any sort of personal success I had that week. It was like all about his genuine happiness. And it was like, holy shit, I can spread that. I can do that. I can bring that joy. I've rated Nano a couple times since then, and I'll continue to do it, you know, as long as he's a streamer. And it's because of that genuine reaction he gave, that happiness. Don't be afraid to show that excitement. And I was funny. I was thinking about that today. My first major raid was from Trick 2G, and I thought I was getting fucked with because I didn't think Trick would actually raid me. And so when he first raided me, I did the whole like, you know, thanks for the raid, Trick. I didn't think.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't want to like sound like an idiot and get all excited for, you know, a Trick 2G raid, and it wasn't actually him. I didn't know how Twitch worked. But when I clicked on his profile, it was actually him, and then I got like pumped. And I was super excited. I remember thinking back to that. I was like, wow, yeah, that was not a good reaction on a raid.
Oh, that's funny.
You know, it is what it is. Learning. But yeah, the genuine excitement and not being afraid to show it is big. You don't have to be too cool for the camera. You like if you get a large raid, dude, go off, show that excitement. That could be a life-changing moment for you.
It could, so, yeah, and embrace it. Even that situation where you were like, I don't know if this is really him, and then you click on it and realize it.
I did that with you, Sigma.
Oh, you could have been like, oh damn, I didn't really think it was you. Oh my god, you know. So you could still salvage it, I guess, even if you're a little embarrassed, but we're all human, and chat loves seeing that stuff. They really do.
I remember when you first came in chat, I had to click on your name to make sure. I was like, no way. This isn't Sigma. I was like, she's a massive streamer. Like, no way she's hanging out in my chat right now. Like 10 viewers.
That is too funny.
Yeah, you were hanging out. And so it really sold me on the Tarkov community, having someone that was such a well-established name hanging out in such a newcomer's stream. I thought was very indicative of how the Tarkov community treats its own.
We do. I love hanging out in small streamers chats. I do. It's where I spend the majority of my time, because
it's honestly a little easier to build that connection with them. It's way easier to chat. Chat's not moving 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah,
that's one thing people always are like, oh, I can't believe you don't have 5,000 viewers or whatever, right? And I always remind them, like, yo, dude, like, I'm so ecstatic with where I'm at now, and I'm enjoying the growth, and I'm enjoying hanging out with you guys, and I'm building these friendships, and I don't want to blow up overnight. It's like you miss out on such a fun part of the journey if you blow up overnight and chat's moving 1,000,000 miles per hour. It's like I'm developing so many good friendships, and then when someone does like exclamation point watch time in my chat, and it shows that they've been watching the stream for like months of watch time, literally like months worth of hours of watch time, is insane. Like, that's so many hours to hang out with someone. Like, that's serious, friendship right there. And so
it is. If
chat's moving 1,000,000 miles per hour, you can't develop those friendships nearly as easily, or at all, really. And so I'm in no rush to blow up to that large of a viewership, because it comes with the price of missing out on chat. And so hanging out in smaller streamers chats, it's really nice, because it's easier to communicate with them. And, being a smaller to mid-sized streamer, you have that opportunity to develop these friendships and talk to your chat. So take advantage of it, because it might not always be there for you.
That's true.
I mean, go to a 10,000 viewer streamer and see if he's carrying on any genuine conversations with any one person.
It's really hard.
It's impossible. It's hard. Yeah, it's damn near impossible. It's they have to be very generalized on their conversation, because they're talking to 10,000 people. Yeah, and chat's moving so fast, they're not going to see a response.
No, maybe. You can't get down to the nitty gritty on that one. I do remember that specifically. I had a little like a girl moment where I kind of teared up, and Hotel was like, "What's wrong with you?" And he had said, "Man, you're like really blowing up. Like, a lot of people are starting to show up." And I thought, I actually got kind of hurt. Like, what if I don't remember that Dave came in the other day and told me about, his dog, and his dog had this thing, and, I'm concerned, like, what if I miss Dave's response? What if I forget about Dave's dog, or just whatever it was that I remember saying to him. But it was just the fact of, I don't want to miss out on the people that take the time to hang out with me. Any of those actual conversations. So we have gotten better, as your channel grows, you do get better, and you learn to glance over, and you pick certain things out. But it is still one of the things that crosses our mind, and it should cross your mind. You should give a damn about your chat. They're everything. They're your community. It's what you're fostering. Yeah, big time. And let me ask you something about that, because I see this happen with smaller streamers, and I want to know, whether you agree or maybe how you approach this. I am a stickler for keeping people out of your chat that are toxic, even if you only have 4 viewers. That one person, I know it's scary to ban them or boot them or talk back to them. Yeah. But this is your home. This is your channel. And if you don't nip that in the butt, you can stop a whole bunch of other people from coming along and hanging out just by letting that one toxic person go. So how do you, I actually had a small streamer just come in and ask me this just the other day, and he just started out 2 weeks ago, and he said, I have a lot of people that are asking to play with me and give me kits, and then I had somebody kind of be rude about it, and I didn't want to be rude back to them, because I didn't want other people to think I was rude, but I don't want their kits. Are they going to leave? So how did you navigate this, or how do you recommend that others navigate it after your own experience?
I mean, so as far as the toxicity thing, just a quick side story. I was watching one of my friends. He's a really good content creator, averages like 75 to 80 viewers. He had a person come in and just troll random questions. It wasn't anything like super toxic, but basically the guy was a troll. A play happened, desync was involved, very desyncy, super desyncy. And the streamer, my friend, was like, "What? Wow, that was crazy. That shouldn't have happened. I should have killed him." And the guy in chat just immediately tried to say opposite of anything the streamer said, trolling. Like literally, the guy could have, my streamer friend could have said anything logical, and the guy would have went the exact opposite. Like it didn't matter what he said. The guy was going to go the exact opposite.
Sure.
And I like watching my friend a lot. And that view, like my friend refused to ban him. One of the mods wanted to ban him. The community wanted to ban him. Like literally chat was saying to ban this dude. And my friend was like, no, hold up. Was wanting to kill him with kindness and took it a little too far.
Oh, no.
My friend's a good guy. But at the same time, it's like, dude, just get this guy out of here, man. Like I left.
Mm-hmm.
I left. I turned off his stream and went to a different stream because I just didn't want to deal with that shit. It was annoying to watch, and that toxic experience made me leave. I'm his friend. I enjoy watching him. You know what I mean? What do you think a random person first clicking on the stream might do?
Yeah.
Like, of course they're not going to want to hang out and watch that, or maybe they will. I don't know. That might be their jam. But either way, like for the majority of people, they're not going to want to hang out in a toxic area. And so if you nip that stuff in the bud very early and are pretty strict with it, then it will foster a very strong community, because you want to start with a really big core community, because basically when people come into your chat and they're not only hanging out with you, they're hanging out with other chat members.
Yes.
And so if you have other chat members that are off-putting, you're not going to grow too much as a streamer, because except for the other off-putting people.
Right.
Other off-putting people will be fine with it, but the nice people or the other viewers might not dig it, and so they'll leave. And that's not saying you have to go overboard and ban anyone that's super toxic. So what I usually do is I'll do a 3-strike rule, and
me too.
And that's
I
for
do
me
it too.
personally. And there's certain rules with it. If someone comes in and they say something rude, I'll play it off and kind of joke with them, or even I'll just let them know, hey, that's rude. Like, appreciate you not saying that, or something like that. And there's always, degrees, like any type of slur,
Sure.
immediate ban. Anytime if they came in and assault another viewer, immediate ban. I'm not like immediate ban. If they take insult, or if they try to push insults onto any other viewer, I immediately ban them. Because although I know I could take an insult, I have pretty thick skin. I don't really care what a troll says to me in my Twitch chat. Like, it's a troll, right? You can't give them any time of day. But basically, I don't know how my viewers are doing on a day-to-day basis, and that might be the very last thing they need to hear, is someone coming in and being rude to them in a place that really realistically should be an area of escape for them from the real world bullshit.
Yeah.
And so basically weeding out the assholes at the start will build a much stronger core community, and then more people will come hang out that are like-minded for that core community. And so trying to maintain that 1 to 2 asshole viewer, not a good idea. It's going to end up hurting you overall. And so if someone comes in and they're rude to me, I'll try to kill them with kindness. And if they're rude again, I'll probably say something snarky. And if they play it off like a joke and they're cool, hey, all fun and games. But then if they say something a third time and it's just whatever, ban them.
Yeah,
Like
just get them out of there.
And it also depends. I mean, sometimes they'll do it off 2 or just 1. It depends on what they say, but don't be afraid to ban, and you're not going to impede on your growth, unless you're banning everybody, of course. But realistically, it's important for you to enjoy what you're doing too. Like, you're getting on every day, or when you go to stream, you're hanging out with these people. It's important for you to get along with them, and if there's a person that you're not getting along with, don't be afraid. And and like you said, with the whole guy that was wanting to give viewer kits, and then someone was rude about it, but he didn't want to be rude to that person because he didn't want people to think that he was rude. Send him a DM. Just be like, hey man, like, this is how I felt. Just be real with him. Like, straight up, just be like, I honestly didn't appreciate the way you made me feel. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. Like, let them know that, like, yo, dude, I do appreciate the offer for a kid or whatever, or wanting to play with me. But so my first time experiencing this, I used to do viewer games a lot, and we do them every Saturday. And then there was one Saturday that someone hit me up to play, and is Ginger actually, and I was like, oh, I'm doing sub days. Do you have any other days open this week? And she had a bunch of plans, so I was like, all right, I'll cancel the sub day. I'll do it tomorrow or the next day, and I'll run games with Ginger. And one of my viewers called me a clout chaser. And I was like, dude, like, are you serious? I was like, I'll not run any community days if, like, you're going to be this entitled about it. You know what I mean? Like, I do this out of the kindness of my heart and wanting to play with you guys, not because, I have to. And so, by no means do you have to feel obligated to, you're no one's bitch.
That's right.
At the end of the day,
right.
Like, you're a human being.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to sit there and take anyone's shit. It's the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You be nice. Be nice. Like, I don't try to dish it out. I try to kill people with kindness, and I'll try to say something snarky every once in a while if they're overboard, just for shits and giggles. But I try to be nice to people, and I don't take shit. And it's like, I think that's an important thing. Like, have your standing points and your morals, and don't fuck with them. Don't go past that. And if someone does, ban them. Not a big deal.
Yep. Move on. Like, just nip it in the butt. I mean, I respond to people sometimes pretty snippy here and there. I'm sure they're not coming in and saying the same thing to me that they say to you, but
no,
you just find your groove, whatever it is. If it's like I'm not good with confrontation, then let your mods know. Make sure that you communicate with your mods. Like, hey, this is what I need from you. 3-strike rule works great. I know I do it. Here's a warning. There's a timeout, and there's the door. Unless, like you said, unless they do something that's really stupid. Like you said, don't mess with my other viewers. Don't mess with my other viewers. Don't mess with my mods.
Yep.
And if that happens, just get them out of there, and don't be afraid. It will actually help your growth later on because you are fostering the community, like you talked about. So yeah, don't be afraid of that stuff for sure. Let me ask you this. So I actually have to move the window out of the way because it's kind of a long question. Well, it is on my Excel document, but so the career looks fun all the time, but it can actually be really stressful. What surprised you about this career that you did not ever think about before?
I mean, so the other social media growth has probably been the most like stressful thing, because at that point it is like, holy shit, it's a lot of work. Just trying to tackle one of the three titans is big, but doing all three of them at the same time, it can become very overwhelming very quickly. And you feel pressure to get out all this content on top of the live content. It can be very overwhelming, and I wasn't ready for that. Like, I was so ecstatic to go full time. I was like, holy cow, like, the idea behind being a streamer and playing video games and, getting paid for it is I really cool, right?
Yeah.
But then when, you have all of the behind the scenes and all the sacrifices and all of the time and commitment that goes into it and the work that goes into it, it comes out to being very overwhelming. Very, very overwhelming. And it is actually a fucking job, a full-time job.
Right. It's like an iceberg. I think Nixia or Batty had said it's literally like an iceberg. Like your channel, your chat only sees this little spot, but everything kind of like tree roots underneath. It's like you start with your social media, but then that goes to this and planning it and what do I post and who do I interact. It can just the social media branch just whoosh, can get away from you pretty quick.
And so when I first started, it was a learning process, and I took it small steps at a time. But then when I launched myself into full time and I quit, my day job, I was like, okay, like now that I have this extra time during the day, I have to figure out how to commit it. And I'm still working on that. But I'm 2.5 weeks in, and so getting it down. But having a set schedule and making sure that you maintain your health, and on top of that, because sitting in a chair 10 hours a day playing video games, it could be a very unhealthy lifestyle, and it's hard to eat healthy when you're streaming. And so that was another thing, like trying to tackle a dietary plan around streams is tough. It's really tough. And so like that was really surprising. But I think what most surprised me was just basically the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes, that up front, being a streamer, you think it's the dream job, and it is for me. It is definitely what I will be doing with the rest of my life. But overall, the amount of work and sacrifice that goes into it, shit, I've missed friends' weddings, also partly because of COVID. I'm not going to fly across country for a fucking wedding in COVID, but either way, I
agree with that. Yeah.
Missing friends. Even if COVID wasn't going on, there's very few friends that I'd be like, yeah, I would take a day off or a few days off from streaming to go to your wedding. So for the most part, no, I'm gonna keep streaming.
Right.
And that's going out with friends or even doing your own personal things. It's like you make a lot of sacrifices. And I Ninja actually said it best in whenever he was talking about the amount of hours and sacrifices that he did to compete in Halo, and to become a successful streamer. It came with major sacrifices, like years and years of sacrifices, and people don't realize that. Streamers miss out on a large portion of life, because they're trying to grow their brand. And you see that with any major career grinder, if you will. And
Sure.
The people that are massively successful in their careers, they make sacrifices, and time, is usually one of them. And so
we're an entrepreneur at this point.
Yep. And
100%.
And so, it's basically the sacrifices and the work that went into it. Basically, it was surprising. It was surprising, extremely fun and extremely exciting. Like the work was, whenever I say work, it was a whole new world, right? And it was something I was fully submerging myself into, and so it was sink or swim. And so I was
and the
determined
reward's
to swim,
different
for sure.
than your average job, because it's not just they're handing you a paycheck. We are rewarded with friendships and interactions and accomplishments, and so it looks glamorous, and it is glamorous to your average job, your average 9 to 5 that you just check in and check out, but it does come with a lot of work. We've all been told, when are you gonna get a real job or something like that. Some smart ass says something to you, and if I'm averaging 75 hours a week and I'm able to not go get a real job that fits into that perfect box, I feel like I'm working. I know that I'm working. I know that I'm just fine. So just watch your validation too, because sometimes people might need more validation because they're not in a position to just run out and say, yeah, guys, guess what? I'm going to go play, Tarkov full time. They're going to have to kind of word it a little differently, I think, too, because the outside public doesn't always understand what we do. That's been fun. Trying to buy a house was crazy. Trying to say, like, what do you do? And I just kept saying, well, I'm a content creator on Twitch, or, what's that? That was always, like, pretty funny. Hotels looked over at me many a times and kind of giggled, like, yeah, go ahead and explain what you do, because
trying to apply for a partner and you're saying you're an online entertainer is probably gonna raise some questions. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
but
yeah, that's
um,
true.
yeah, no doubt. I try not to view streaming too much as a job. Like I'm not in it for the money, and I have to view it as a job now because it is paying the bills. But I as silly as it sounds, this is just my life purpose. I'm going to raise as much money as possible during my lifetime for charity, and this is my avenue to do it. And so, like without a doubt, this is what I'm meant to be doing, and it's not for the paycheck, and it's not to get to play video games, but getting told, like, yo, dude, it's been a really rough week. It means the world to me that you're on right now. I needed this. Like, that's the coolest thing in the world to me. And then being able, like, we've raised $43,000 for Save the Children already, and that's life changing money, especially in a third world country.
That's so cool.
And so, like, that's the dream for me. It's not a job. This is my life calling, and as silly as it sounds to be, your life calling is to be a Twitch streamer. It's what I'm doing with my platform, and yeah,
right. It's your why.
It's my why.
It's your why. You have to attach yourself to your why. It does make a world of difference, because it doesn't matter how you get there, what vessel you use, or what, that those also become your passions along the way. So yeah, you said, hey, I want to do this charity thing. That's your why. That's your passion.
And then all the other side things like Twitch and YouTube, like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. All those things lead into your main goal. Like charity work's my main goal, and so all the growth that I get on Twitch or YouTube or TikTok or Twitter is so fucking exciting, because I know it's leading to the grand goal of money raised for charity and life-changing events happening for the people that need it most. And it's just like, that is so exciting. The fact that I'm able to do that through Twitch, like, mind blowing to me. And it's so cool. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. You're so kick-ass. I'm lucky to like call you my friend.
Yeah, I was
really
saying that about you the other day, Sigma. Get out of here.
You're a dork. Well, my why is because my husband just retired, hotel retired after 20 years in the military, but almost 4 years now. 4 years ago when I started streaming, I just did it to have some friends. So my goal was 10 people. I just wanted to have 10 people, because I figured at any given time that meant there was 2 or 3 of us around to like hang out and BS with and play games. And when I realized it could be a job, I was like, wait a minute. He's got a few years until he retires. If I can make this a job, that means we can be together. Because the goal, the whole thing is he retires, I'm going to go to work, because he put in his 20, and I want him to have time to just be him and do whatever the fuck you want to do, babe. And when I realized I might be able to work from home, and this could be our vessel for us getting to just be together and travel and be, as a family, that was my why. It was like, well, I'm running 100 miles an hour after it. And then I realized, like, I'm loving this. I love the community. I love creating stuff. I love, being a dork and being serious and just sharing all this with everybody. And so, yeah, like you said, like I get so excited about it, but my why is what drove me here. So if you can find your why, you are going to be so far ahead of the game, and that's what's going to keep you motivated. I know we get a lot of questions about, and God, you do, I'm sure, but just staying motivated, especially playing the same game over and over. Like, how do you find the inspiration and everything to just keep going?
So outside the charity work, I do think it's the community more than anything, because I don't see myself playing Tarkov 6,000 plus hours if it wasn't for the Tarkov community. Like last night I was running around reloading a sniper for fucking 8 hours. Like, that's not fun gameplay, but I had so much fun last night. Like, I did a longer stream, and it's because I didn't want to end. I didn't want to get off. The only reason I did is because I had a meeting with an editor. And so it's like, I didn't want to end the stream. I was having so much fun hanging out with the community. And so, I think that's really important. It goes back to building that strong core community and having those friends to hang out with, and not allowing, the toxicity to exist in your channel. And so, like, whenever I get on to play Tarkov, I'm not getting on to play Tarkov I'm getting on to hang out with the Tarkov community, and I'm playing Tarkov, sure, but and I have fun playing Tarkov. Don't get me wrong, like it is that, and so that's another thing. Like finding a game that you are that passionate about that you could play 6,000 plus hours and you're still having as much fun at hour 6,000 as you did hour 1. Like that's important because basically you're going to have to build a community for that game or for one specific game, and then you can start to branch out to other games or be a variety streamer or move over to another game if you need to, because you'll already be in that algorithm, if you will, on the recommended channels and stuff like that. So you're able to build a viewership on another game easily. But if you are swapping games too much, you end up not ever getting put in the algorithm. And then if you end up bottlenecking yourself into a game or pigeonholing yourself into a game, and then that game dies out, like PUBG, for example, it's like, your community will end up dwindling over time and it could be tough. And so enjoying the game you play is so massively important, because then at the end of the day, it's not a complete loss because you still had fun with your time spent. Even if, you didn't get that many followers on the day or anything like that, or it was a slower day, you still had fun spent. But if it's a slow day in chat and you're doing bad in game and you're not enjoying the game all that much, you're probably not going to have that much fun. You're probably not going to put on that good of a show, and people are probably not going to hang out. But if you're sitting there and you're enjoying the game you're playing, even if you're having a bad day, like I'm telling you right now, I could die every single game in Tarkov 10 hours in a row. I will still have fun because I'm getting to hang out with the Tarkov community and I enjoy the game. And so it's, ideally I'm going to survive and kick butt, but there's going to be days where I'm not going to do that. And it's important to still enjoy the game and not feel as if it's a chore to get on and play. And that's really important, because that's when you get burnt out, is when it starts to become a chore and you still force yourself to do it, you're going to get burnt out. And so the second it becomes a chore, like, you need to start, figuring out other ways to have fun with what you're doing, or maybe not take it as serious, or, take a step back and kind of analyze, because you don't want to burn out. That's definitely a danger with this career choice. And so, picking a game that you're passionate about and then building a strong core community in that game is extremely important for new streamers. Extremely important.
It is. That's true. That's good advice. Well, I am going to ask you 2 more questions. I shouldn't say if. When you go to small streamers, because I know you kind of cruise around and check out the smaller streamers in the category, what is a common thing that you see that you're like, damn, dude, I wish they improved this? I know earlier we talked about alerts, and one thing that drives me crazy is donate buttons. Donate buttons being the very first thing and the only thing that they have. And if they got wild and crazy, there might be like this little about panel, and then it has 1 sentence, but they wrote you a whole paragraph and made a nice flashy donate button. And you're like, so like, that's one thing that I see with smaller streamers is that. And I'm really glad you brought up the alerts in the middle of the stream. But is there any other like common thing that you see that you're like, man, small streamers, I always see them do this, and I wish that they would know that this and this they should work on? So
graphics on the bottom panels, like you said, the panels for your Twitch page, I think are really big. Whenever I go to raid someone, if they don't have panels, I don't raid them. If they don't have a webcam, I don't raid them. If they don't have their VODs up, a lot of people don't have their VODs up. Like, I guess when you first start on Twitch, there's not like you have to manually go in and turn them on. I don't remember doing it, but you have to manually go in and turn on the option for Twitch to store your VODs. And a lot of people won't have that option on. So like, if I go into someone's VODs and I can't see any VODs, so I have no clue how, like, if they've been streaming for, 1 day out of the past month or 30 days out of the past month, it's like, I don't rate them. But basically, I've never seen a massive streamer raid someone without a webcam. Never seen it. 100% audio levels in general, not just like with your mic, but like your mic compared to the alert sounds, compared to your in-game sounds, compared, and the in-game sounds vary too. because you have your extremes and your quiets, and so you need to make sure your voice is louder than the extremes. And so it's like you have to go back and watch your VOD and analyze. Like that should be a really easy one that you should fix within the first week. You should have your audio levels down just by watching the VOD and being like, all right, the gunshots are way too loud. I need to adjust that. Like whenever I go to talk and someone's shooting or I'm shooting, can't really hear me at all. So I need to adjust that. Or when I'm running or opening a door, whatever, right? When the extreme audio levels are happening, you need to make sure that you could still be heard. And so like going back and doing a VOD review on yourself, just watching your own gameplay, is so massively important. When someone asks for advice, for first time streamers, I always tell them like, go in, watch your VOD, take notes over it, and then go compare that to the top dogs. Pick out 5 of your favorite streamers that have made it, that put on a very good show, and go compare your product to theirs. And I'm not saying your numbers don't, but look at their alert size, their alert placement, their volumes, their webcam placement, their overlays, the panels down below, the way they interact with chat, basically the way they go about their behind the scenes stuff. That now that you're a streamer and you know a little bit more about the behind the scenes stuff, look how about other people do the behind the scenes stuff. Then kind of just copy it. And I'm not saying you have to sit there and literally like down to a T copy Tim the Tap Man, you know what I mean? But it's a winning algorithm, and the guy, is successful, and picking the same alert placement as him is probably a good idea. Like there's nothing wrong with like copying an alert placement or panel size. Like when you go and look at some panels, a lot of streamers I click on, their panels are just all over the place, and it's just so messy and information overload. And it's just like, dude, you really just tried to jam everything down there, didn't you? But I mean, and this is maybe preference, but when I go and click on someone else's stream that it does it a little bit better or more professional, it's clean, and it's just the panels, or and if it does have the text down below, it's bolded and looks neat, and it's uniformed and organized.
Some theme. Give me some theme. Don't make it just everything kind of thrown in there. I get that.
And so putting effort into the behind the scenes stuff goes a really long way on basically getting rated, I think, is the biggest thing. And the webcam is important with maintaining viewership as a whole, and but there's plenty of streamers that obviously have found success without a webcam, right? So it's not impossible. But I just personally have never seen a large streamer, massive streamer, raid a smaller streamer that without a webcam, and those were my biggest exposure opportunities, because I consider myself good at streaming and good at the game that I play, and so all I needed was more eyeballs to see that, right? And so getting those raids from the really big streamers was a massive opportunity in my growth and being able to get those eyeballs on me. And so basically having the webcam and good graphics and stuff like that, and I'm not saying super professional level graphics, but having them period can make or break you getting rated by 10,000 people. And
we're talking about like $20 on Fiverr.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like this is not a crazy investment that you're, the return on it is going to be immeasurable, because you truly don't know how many people are going to see that. So,
and then speaking on
huge advocate for that stuff.
Yeah. And then speaking on investments, like it's really easy to see like stream rooms like mine, for example, or yours, and be like I want to go all out with that. But they have a shitty mic, or they have, a shitty webcam, and they go and upgrade their GPU, or they get an Xbox, or they get, stuff that they don't need yet. And there's a priority level, and like a webcam, good audio, or so a decent mic, even a Blue Yeti, which is, I used that one for a long time. It's a really good bang for your budget.
I did too.
And sooner or later,
you can make all kinds of adjustments to it, and then you can move
exactly.
up.
Sooner or later, you can upgrade, but at the start, that's all you need. but don't rock like a headset mic. Headphones
Please no.
are good for headphones, but the reason they're affordable is because they cheap out on the mic. This part's expensive, the mic part super fucking cheap. Like, I mean, it's Walmart quality.
It's so bad.
You'll be just as good.
And nobody wants to hear you breathing.
Yep.
We don't want to hear you breathing, please. So I'm a big proponent for a microphone, the AT2020, and it's $99. And so actually Hotel got it because he was like, I'm not streaming. I don't need. And I was like, get a decent mic. So we ended up asking around, and people recommended that mic. Now I'm sure there's others out there. I'm not saying that there aren't. Just from my own personal experience, he got it, and I was like, that sounds just as good as my $400 mic. So there are options out there. Don't feel like, oh, well, I saw my streamer only use a Shure, and I have to go put in $400, and I hope I can make it there. There's other options, but you have to play with it. And I love that you said to watch your VODs back. Watch your VODs back, and your quality improvements should be made for those people that are actually watching and listening to you, not for yourself.
Your investments need to 100% be in it for the viewership.
Yes.
Like, if the viewers are going to notice no improvement on the stream quality, that's not an investment you need to invest in right now. And then as far as, a stream room, do it on a budget. Like, in my opinion, I love my room. I spent less than $1,000 on it. It's extreme budget.
Yeah.
And it came down to the sound foam paneling on the wall. Amazon, super expensive. Didn't do that. I was like, I can't afford that. Went to eBay, relatively more affordable, but still kind of expensive. I might be able to do one wall. But I noticed that it was just a bunch of bots selling the foam paneling on eBay from the same manufacturer. I called the manufacturer, asked them what the minimum was that they'd ship. 100. I ordered 300 of them, and I got them for pennies on the dollar.
Wow.
And so, yeah, like, no joke, it was like 20 cents, I think, per foot. And on Amazon, they're $2.50 per foot.
Wow.
It's like,
so smart. You put in a little bit of effort, and you got so much more back.
Yep. And so basically, like, everything, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a very frugal person.
Holy crap. Scared the hell out of me. Okay, sorry. I mean, frugal, though, that's super smart because there's going to be so many areas that you need to invest in.
Yep, exactly.
So
exactly.
You could have taken the money that you saved there. I don't know what you did, but the money that you saved there, maybe you said, yeah, well, the little extra that I had was going to go towards this next thing, and now you're even farther ahead in the game.
I ended up putting it into a charity event. I was able to set aside $1,500 for a charity event, and we raised more money for Save the Children. And so, yeah, like the basically my investments with my stream and with the way I go about it is, like you said, you want to do the ones that will impact your viewers the most. That's where you want to invest your money. And so, but yeah, the money I save, and I try to invest the money that especially when I first started, because I was working a day job that paid my bills, right? And so the way I looked at Twitch, I was like, any money I get from Twitch, I'm investing back into my brand. And so I tried to invest it as wisely as possible, because it was small at the start, right? Like, you have to get that $100 saved up before they'll even pay you. So, you get that affiliate status and you get your first 10 subs and you're like, oh, fuck yeah. But you might not ever see that money. Like, you
not
have,
yet. No,
yeah,
you gotta keep working.
All this, you got to get up to $100 and then they'll pay you out. And so, a few months when you first start, it's a little bit of money here and there, but wise investments and that little bit of money goes a long way. Like investing into graphics or a new mic or a new webcam, instead of that new GPU when your GPU now is perfectly fine, or, the background aesthetic to make your room look better whenever your mic sounds like ass. You got to prioritize.
That's true. Well, let me get to this. This is your last question. If you could go back and tell yourself 3 things that you personally should have focused on, because I'm sure that you can point out, hindsight is 2020 where you got in your own way. But if you can go back to Sheef just starting out, what would you tell him? What are the 3 things that you would tell him?
Well, when it's first starting streaming?
Yeah. The second that you were like, wait a minute, I'm going to start doing this.
I'm going to do this?
Yeah.
All right.
What would you tell yourself now in hindsight?
turn off the numbers. That was the biggest thing. That was one of the biggest things. I wish I would have done that months earlier. It would have saved me so much stress. Turn off the numbers. Don't focus on them at all. The next thing would have been getting started on YouTube and the other social media sooner. I was big on, I Twitter and Twitch, but didn't touch YouTube, didn't touch TikTok, and that was a mistake. That's a massive avenue of growth, and who knows if that is going to be the main platform for you, if anything, because you never know if, like, you're putting out this live content and it might not ever get picked up by Twitch. Twitch doesn't have amazing discoverability. And so it sometimes that's what I'm talking about with, you need those big raids, those big exposure opportunities. Twitch doesn't have just regular discoverability all that well. Whereas YouTube and TikTok do, they have like an algorithm that will literally feed it hardcore. And so basically, like, you never know if, though one of those two might be your main jam, and you might enjoy those even more, right?
Yeah.
I have a couple friends that love editing and love YouTube work, but don't really like live streaming as much. They'll do it once or twice a week, but they are a YouTuber through and through. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? And so it's different strokes for different folks. And if you find yourself liking YouTube more, nothing wrong with it. But don't wait to get started on it. My scenario, I was working a full-time job and streaming, and I committed all my extra time to the stream, to Twitch. And that was, I was like, I'll do YouTube and TikTok whenever I quit my day job. And so it worked out for me. But looking back, I wish I would have cut back a little hours on the stream each week and just put that towards YouTube work. And I would have started the channels earlier and started to build that growth as I built my Twitch community, and they would have grown alongside each other rather than, I have one really big success with Twitch, and now my YouTube and TikTok channels are still in their infancy, and I'm now having to build them up, and it turns into a lot of work. But if I would have gotten started on it earlier, even in a smaller capacity, I think it would have paid off better in the long run. It would have made it a lot smoother, because it has been overwhelming to try to jump into it. And when you find good success on one, it's hard not to expect good success on the other two. And
true.
So, there's that higher expectation as well, more pressure, more stress. And so getting started on it earlier isn't that big of a deal, because the blunders, big deal. And they got seen by 10 people, and it's a learning experience, and so that would probably be one thing. And then the third, don't hesitate to reach out to people to game. I try not to like ever look at it like networking, but it is important to ingrain yourself in the community and become friends with these people. But I don't ever look at it like networking. Networking I always view as like it's like companies. Like, you network with companies or collaborate's not a word I like to use either, because you collaborate with companies, but like these other streamers, they're just humans. Like, I'm not some massive corporation. I'm not any special, like, I don't know. I'm a normal dude that just plays video games. You know what I mean? Like, I had this friend hit me up, game with him just the other day, and but like when he first hit me up, he had this long formal message, and this is not this dude's style. Not this dude's style. And you when I tell you afterwards who it was, you will be like, wow, that's hilarious. Not the dude's style. He had the most formal, professional looking message.
Aww.
And I straight up told him, I was like, dude, you literally could have just been like, yo, bitch, let's game. You know what I mean? Like,
that is not an invite to message Sheef and just say, yo, bitch, let's game. Let me put that PSA out there really quick.
But basically, I think a lot of times these people will have the idea of these bigger streamers as some sort of corporation or company, and they're just normal. They're normal people. Like, worst case scenario, they're just gonna not have enough time to either one, hit you back up, so they might ignore you, which could suck. But at the same time, you don't take an ego hurt or anything like that, because it realistically is like they probably are just so fucking busy they forgot to message you back.
Yeah.
It's not like they're intentionally ignoring you.
Maybe
So don't let it
people
hurt
that
your
are
ego or anything like
your
that.
same size. Like I tell people a lot, like interact.
Yeah.
If you're a 5 viewer person, what about the guy that's 10 viewers? Why not hit him up and
That's the best rule of
and
thumb.
genuinely hang out
Yeah.
and get to know the communities. Don't just go running in there and ask to game. Like genuinely get to know each other. You and I have seen a lot of like little pods, I guess you would call it, of groups of streamers that this one's playing with that one and then this one and then over here. But in general, like most of them all kind of stick together, but they have grown up the ranks together, because I know that we have people that watch both of us all the time. So if Sheef is on and then now they're playing together and then Sheef isn't on that morning but Sigma is, maybe they'll come over and they'll be like, yeah, I met you in Sheef's stream. Like people genuinely will vibe together as long as you're chill and truly be a part of their channel. Don't just go in there.
That's the biggest thing.
Please.
Yeah. And so whenever I go to look to game with someone, I go and hang out in their channel. Like someone asked me last night, like how does someone become a person that gets to duo with you? Like how do you choose your duo partners? And I'm like, to be honest, I just go in and watch their stream. I usually don't play with people that like I can't watch their stream first, because I have to realize that I have an audience that wants to be entertained, right? And so I want to put on a good show. So I want to make sure I vibe with the person that I'm gaming with. And if play styles are so drastic or personalities are so drastic, it's like it's not going to be that good of a show. And so it's like making sure that you vibe with the person and you enjoy their content. It's like that's big. And so I always go into the that person's stream and I'll hang out with them for a hot minute before I hit them up to game, and I'll be like, hey, I've really been enjoying your content. I think you're a blast to watch. Do you want to get some games in sometime? Simple as that. That's literally what I open with. And
there you go.
It works a lot of the time, and in a lot of the cases, because I've been in their chat and I've hung out and I've talked to them. And what you said is shooting for someone around similar size is good, because you got to realize like the streamers are also trying to grow their channel and they have their own thing going for them. And so if you have 10 viewers, it's probably not realistic to try to duo with a 500 viewer person. And that's not saying don't necessarily shoot your shot, but don't be offended if you don't get responded to, because streamers get a lot of those messages.
Right.
A lot of those messages. I try to respond to them, but it could be tough to respond to all of them. But usually I stuck to the general rule of thumb of twice my size. It's like if I had 20 viewers, I'd ask someone with 40 viewers to duo. But I never really looked at it like I want to play with a larger streamer or anything like that. It was more along the lines of I don't want to waste my time sending messages out, cold calling or cold messaging these bigger streamers asking to duo. I wanted something that was more realistic for a yes. And so I hit up people that were twice my size because it's a lot more realistic for a yes. But that's not to say, only go for people twice your size. Like just integrate yourself into the community. And the best way to do that is honestly hanging out and gaming with these people and hanging out in their chat. And so that's one thing that I would have told myself earlier, because this wipe especially, I branched out, I've got out of my comfort zone, and I started to reach out to these streamers, and I'm like, hey, you want to get some games in? And it's like Jesse, for example. The dude is so
that was cool. That
awesome.
was cool. And then I came along and interrupted it. But
get out of here.
Nah, he's so cool.
He's hands down one of my
together
favorites.
Was like 10 out of 10.
The dude is so cool, so nice. Like literally right up my alley as far as personality and play style, and just like perfect for a duo for me. And I'd watched him for a long time. He was, when I first started to like really watch Tarkov outside of, like when Summit was playing it at the time, or Dr. Lupo and Pesley. Like when I first clicked on Tarkov, those were the three names I watched. But once I started to actually branch out and view other streamers, like your channel, Jesse's, and Robin's were three of the channels I watched a lot of. And Jesse did so cool to like find, like I don't know why I didn't reach out to him earlier, but yeah, that's something I would have told myself back when is like, dude, reach out to the community and like network more. Don't feel as if you have to play solo and, you know, do that or be afraid to reach out to people. Like, worst case scenario is they're going to say no, but they're just humans. Like, it's not like there's some corporations or companies. They're just humans. Like,
Yeah,
and they're probably
that's
wanting
true.
the same thing as you. They just want homies to game with, like, at the end of the day. And so, yeah, I can't tell you
Yeah.
how many good friends I've made, like legitimate, like friends that I will gladly hang out with anytime. And honestly, I see myself meeting up in real life with them at some point. But yeah, like without a doubt, don't be afraid to make those friendships because they're literally just sitting right
that's
there.
true. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like those 3. Those are good ones. Well, I will let you go get your rest before you start your stream.
Oh shoot, I'm up. This is awesome. This is so exciting.
Thank you so much for being here. I will be putting all of the links that we talked about down below. All of Sheef's links will be down there. His Twitch, his YouTube, his Twitter. There'll be a gazillion ways that you can find him. Go and follow him. Jump in his channel. He is live every single day. I don't see him stopping anytime soon. So whenever you watch this or listen to it or whatever, you can find Sheef that day. So thank you, Sheef, for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And real quick, Sigma,
Yeah.
seriously, from the bottom of my heart, like, thank you personally. You've been a massive help for me personally and my channel's growth. And you've been a phenomenal friend. And not only to me, but the rest of the Tarkov community. And, this right here, just the fact that you're helping out streamers with the same dream as what we have it says a lot about you. And you've done it time and time and time again. And
Aw,
so,
thanks.
like, from the bottom of my heart, straight up, Sigma, I cannot stress enough how much it means to me that I can call you a friend. So,
Damn, thanks.
yeah, like, it's awesome. I mean, I'm beyond excited to see this, too. And I get to see Nixie and Patty's interviews as well, because I'm sure I'm going to learn a thing or two as well, because they're extremely skilled. So.
Yeah, it's been, like, a crazy honor to get to hear everybody's story, and just, we don't get to do this very often. You just
not
sit down
enough.
with your streamer friend and just get to hear their story and get their advice. So
Yeah, this was
it's been
so
really
much fun.
cool.
This was so much fun.
I started out trying to, like, make sure that I'm helping other people, but then I don't know. I feel so damn lucky because I'm getting to hear all this stuff. So, and I've been reevaluating some of my own things too. I mean, I know I'm a partner and all, but this is part of growing. You've got to just
truthfully.
constantly be okay reevaluating it. So
It's a
been awesome.
never-growing thing.
Anyway,
So, alrighty.
thank you so
I'll
much.
catch you later. Bye.
All right.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Streamer Class. Links to everything discussed in today's episode can be found in the description. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information or to connect with Sigma, follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Discord. We'll see you next time.